Awaken Light Audio. Awaken your mind. Ignite your light.
Focus on yourself. Stop explaining. Start evolving. The most powerful thing you can do is turn inward. What if the version of you that wins doesn't need louder explanations, only quieter evolution? What if your peace is being traded every day for the approval of people who were never meant to understand you? And what if the moment you stop explaining yourself is the same moment you begin truly becoming yourself? The quiet revolution begins. Within, there comes a time in your journey when the noise becomes too loud. The expectations, too heavy. The comparisons too constant. And you find yourself exhausted not from doing too much, but from explaining too much to people who still don't get it. You explain your choices. You explain your silence. You explain your healing. You explain your growth. But no matter how gently, clearly, or passionately you speak, it never feels like enough, not because you lack clarity, but because they lack the capacity. And that's the moment you must ask yourself, do I want to be understood, or do I want to evolve? Because trying to make everyone understand your path is the fastest way to forget. Why you started walking at growth is not a performance. Healing is not a debate. Becoming who you're meant to be doesn't require validation. It requires focus. Focus on yourself, not selfishly, but intentionally, quietly, steadily, relentlessly. Let the world keep wondering. Let them guess. Let them project, while you return your energy inward, where the real transformation begins. Because nothing and no one is worth the cost of your peace, your vision, or your becoming. And so it begins. This isn't just about ignoring the noise. It's about building a life so aligned, you no longer need to explain it. We begin with the foundation, your time. Part 1. Protect your time, guarding the most precious currency you have. There's one resource you'll never get back. Not money, not energy, not opportunity, but time. Time is the silent currency of your becoming. You spend it every day with every yes, every scroll, every delay, every distraction. But here's the truth. Most people don't lose their power by doing the wrong things. They lose it by doing too many things that don't matter. Time leaks in tiny, invisible ways. It doesn't always look like chaos. Sometimes it looks like saying yes to things that drain you, getting caught in conversations that lead nowhere, filling your calendar with other people's urgency, checking in on social media, and losing 40 minutes putting off what matters for what's easy. And by the end of the week, you wonder where your energy went. Not because you weren't busy, but because you gave the best of yourself to things that don't build the future you want. You're not busy, you're distracted. There's a difference between being full and being fulfilled, between being productive and being intentional. You can be busy every single hour and still feel empty. That's what happens when your time belongs to everyone else, but not to you. To evolve, you must protect your time like your life depends on it, because it does. Time is not just minutes, it's your focus, your energy, your becoming. You don't have to explain your boundaries. You don't owe anyone your constant availability. Your no doesn't make you mean, it makes you clear. Every no to distraction is a yes to alignment. Every time you guard your time, you reclaim your life. Protecting your time isn't selfish. It's the highest form of self-respect. Before you agree to anything, ask, is this aligned with my priorities right now? Will this move me closer to who I'm becoming? Am I doing this out of guilt or clarity? If the answer doesn't feel like a full-body yes, let it be a gentle no. That small pause could save you from a week of regret. Remember that. My time is not up for grabs. I protect it like my peace depends on it, because it does. I do less with more presence. I honor my time, and it honors me back. Part 2. Invest in your growth. Stop consuming. Start becoming. We live in a time of endless information. Videos, books, podcasts, courses, motivational reels. Swipe, save, repeat. And yet, most people feel just as stuck, just as confused, just as unsure. Why? Because consumption doesn't equal transformation. You can know everything and still stay. The same if you never apply what you learn. Growth is not what you know, it's what you practice. The goal isn't to become a walking library. The goal is to become someone whose life reflects what they believe. You don't need more quotes, you need more integrated action. You don't need to chase more content, you need to create more alignment. You don't need to feel more inspired, you need to start building, even when inspiration is silent, because the truth is simple. You don't grow by learning more, you grow by living differently. This is the trap. You consume something inspiring, you feel energized, you imagine a new life. You do nothing differently. You feel disappointed and go back to step one. It feels like progress. But it's just a dopamine loop. Real growth doesn't always feel exciting. It often feels repetitive, uncomfortable, quiet, because real growth shows up in the hard conversations you now choose to have, the daily habits. You no longer abandon the boundaries, you finally enforce the choices that reflect your vision, not your mood. The most valuable investment is you invest in your future. Not by buying more, but by becoming more honest, more focused, more resilient, more consistent. When you invest in your own development with time, energy, reflection, and action, you become unstoppable, because no one can take away who you've become through what you've lived. You must apply before you seek more. The next time you finish a podcast, video, or book, pause and ask, what's one thing I can do with this today? Not next week, not once, everything's perfect. Today, knowledge that isn't lived is just noise. Tell yourself, I grow by doing. I stop chasing the next thing and become the next version of myself. I act with intention. I live what I believe, and I rise one aligned step at a time. Part 3. Stop pleasing. Start living. There's a quiet kind of exhaustion that doesn't come from doing too much, but from being too much. For everyone else, you bend, you shrink. You say yes when you mean no. You show up even when your soul begs for rest, and you tell yourself it's kindness, but inside you feel hollow. Because pleasing people isn't the same as loving them. And it's definitely not the same as loving yourself. Why we please? Somewhere along the way you learned this. If I keep the peace, I'll be loved. If I say yes, I'll be safe. If I don't disappoint, I won't be abandoned. So you became the peacemaker, the caretaker, the reliable one, the one who keeps everything together, while quietly falling apart. But love that only lasts when you abandon yourself isn't love, it's performance. Every time you please others over yourself, you disappear. You lose tiny pieces of yourself every time you agree just to avoid conflicts. Stay silent when you want to speak. Apologist for taking space. Take care of everyone and leave yourself for last. This isn't compassion. This is self-erasure, and the more you abandon your truth, the more resentful you become, not just at them, but at yourself. You can be kind and clear. Let's be clear. You can be loving and still say no. You can support others without carrying them. You can be generous without being responsible for someone else's happiness. Boundaries don't make you mean. They make you real. Because true love, the kind that frees, never requires you to disappear. The art of reverse the question. Instead of asking, will they be upset if I say no? Ask, will I betray myself if I say yes? And remember, every time you say no to what drains you, you say yes to your life. I stop shrinking to keep the peace. I stop trading truth for approval. I honor who I am, not just who they want me to be. I stop pleasing. I start living. Part 4. Prioritize your health, protecting your energy, mind, and body. You can't pour from an empty cup and no amount of success, validation, or ambition is worth it if it costs you your health, not just your physical health, but your emotional stamina, your mental clarity, and your inner peace. Because here's the truth, most people ignore: you don't lose your dreams overnight. You lose them slowly the moment you stop taking care of the vessel carrying them. Health is your real wealth. We say health is wealth, but live like our bodies, our energy, and our rest are afterthoughts. You skip meals chasing deadlines. You sacrifice sleep for productivity. You say, "I'll rest when I finish." But the finish line keeps moving. You silence your needs to be more disciplined, not realizing that discipline without compassion is just burnout in disguise. You were not made to grind until you break. You were made to build with sustainability, presence, and longevity. Protect your nervous system like you protect your bank account. Stress isn't just a feeling. It's chemistry, it's inflammation, it's decision fatigue, it's the slow erosion of joy. You can't evolve if your body is always in survival mode. You can't focus if your brain is exhausted. You can't grow consistently if your energy is on empty. Your nervous system is your foundation. Treat it with the reverence it deserves. Health as a daily non-negotiable. Start simple. Move your body, even for 10 minutes. Hydrate. Your brain depends on it. Breathe deeply, especially when overwhelmed. Unplug at least once a day. Sleep like it's a priority, not a reward. These aren't luxuries, they are the minimum requirements for you to keep evolving with grace. Self-care, not self-indulgence. Let go of the guilt. Taking care of yourself isn't weak, it's not selfish, it's not lazy. It's the most strategic thing you can do for your focus, your growth, and your future self. Because when your body is strong, your mind is clearer. When your mind is clear, your choices sharpen. When your energy is protected, your path expands. Everything you want to build starts with the version of you that's well enough to hold it. I choose health, not as a reward, but as a foundation. I protect my energy. I restore my peace. I nurture the vessel that carries my vision because I am worth sustaining. Part 5. Lead your own revolution. Don't wait to be chosen. Choose yourself. No one is coming to hand you your moment. No one is going to knock on your door and say, "We see you now. It's time." Because the truth is, you are the one you've been waiting for. The old story must break. You've been taught to wait. Wait for approval. Wait for approval. Wait for permission. Wait until you're more ready, more qualified, more confident. Wait until someone else sees your worth before you believe it yourself. But revolutions aren't handed down. They're sparked from within. And your life, your truth, your evolution. It's not a performance to win over others. It's a radical act of choosing yourself. Even when the world says, "Sit still," you're not asking anymore. You're acting. You don't need to ask, "Am I good enough? Do they believe in me? Will they accept this version of me?" Those questions are chains, and you weren't made to live on a leash of outside validation. You weren't made to be invited. You were made to initiate. This is your permission slip. Lead your own revolution. Silently, powerfully, daily. Not with noise, but with alignment, not to prove anything, but to embody everything you know you already are. Your power is in choosing again and again. Every time you say yes to what feels aligned, walk away from what no longer fits. Keep going when no one claps for you. To shrink, to stay digestible, create even when no one's watching you. Are not just surviving, you are leading. You are rewriting every old rule that said you must wait to be chosen. Ask yourself, what would I do today if I stopped asking for permission? What version of me am I building? And am I living like I believe in them? Then act not perfectly, not loudly, but powerfully. Because choosing yourself is not a one-time decision, it's a daily revolution. I no longer wait to be seen. I see myself. I no longer wait to be chosen. I choose myself. I lead my own revolution from the inside out. Focus on yourself. not to escape but to expand. You don't need to explain why you're healing, why you're slowing down, why you're no longer accessible to everyone, why you've stopped proving and started protecting. You don't owe the world an explanation. You owe yourself an evolution. So, protect your time, invest in your growth, stop pleasing, prioritize your health, and lead yourself forward, because the moment you do, the world doesn't just shift around you. You shift from within, and that changes everything.
Thank you for spending this moment with Awaken Light Audio. If something today touched your heart or opened your mind, don't keep it to yourself. Share your thoughts in the comments. What spoke to you most? Tell us about your journey, your questions. Send it their way, because light grows when it's shared. Until next time, stay present, stay awakened, and keep becoming who you're meant to be.